Have you ever noticed that when you truly understand something, when it clicks deep within your consciousness, your entire world shifts? Tonight, I want to share with you a profound truth that will transform how you experience reality itself. And right now, as you listen to these words, the universe is orchestrating events beyond your imagination. Forces are aligning, circumstances are shifting, and a wave of incredible manifestations is heading your way. But here's the crucial part. Most people miss these blessings because they're looking in the wrong direction and are failing to imagine the magnetism. You see, the universe doesn't repay you based on what you do. It repays you based on who you are being in your consciousness. This is the secret that changes everything. When you grasp this truth, you'll understand why some people seem to effortlessly attract their desires, while others struggle endlessly. Think about this. Every moment of your life, you're broadcasting a signal to the universe through your consciousness. This signal isn't your words, your actions, or even your thoughts. It's your state of being. It's the feeling you carry within you. Most people spend their entire lives trying to manipulate external circumstances, never realizing that the external is merely a reflection of their internal state. They chase success, love, wealth, always reaching, always striving, never understanding that these things aren't to be pursued, but to be assumed. Let me share something profound with you. The universe isn't separate from you. It is you extended. Every person, every circumstance, every event in your life is yourself pushed out. When you truly understand this, you'll realize why the universe must repay you, because it's simply responding to what you're being. Tonight, I'm going to show you how to position yourself to receive these universal repayments. But first, you must understand that this isn't about doing more. It's about being more. It's about expanding your consciousness to embrace the reality you desire. The secret to feeling truly alive lies not in what you accumulate or achieve, but in your capacity to feel the reality of your desires. Now, most people live in a state of emotional numbness, going through the motions of life without ever experiencing its full vibrancy. Consider this. When was the last time you felt absolutely, unshakably alive? When every state in your body vibrated with the energy of pure being. That state isn't something to be found. It's something to be claimed through your consciousness. Mirror your kingdom, mirror your power, mirror your glory, mirror your glory, mirror your life. This is a quote from the style in the book. You see, at this very moment, you're experiencing only a tiny fraction of what life has to offer. You've constructed walls in your consciousness, limitations that seem real, but exist only because you've accepted them as truth. These walls weren't built by the universe. They were built by your assumptions. You saw this wall that you drew as a way of protecting and closing yourself in. Let me share a principle that will revolutionize your understanding. Every sensation you've ever experienced, every emotion you've ever felt, exists within your consciousness. You don't need external circumstances to feel alive. You need only to awaken to the aliveness that already exists within you. Find that space, that inner space, that inner presence, that inner awareness, that inner understanding. Most people wait for something external to make them feel alive. They wait for the perfect relationship, the ideal job, the dream house. But I tell you this, waiting is the very thing that keeps you from experiencing the fullness of life. The universe responds not to your wanting, but to your being. When you feel truly alive, when you embody the state of vibrant, pulsing life force, the universe must, by law, reflect that state back to you in countless unexpected ways. Everyone turns around. You were here once. Now you're begging for another chance to come back. Think about this. Every moment of intense aliveness you've ever experienced was created not by external circumstances, but by your consciousness. Those moments when you felt invincible, when you felt connected to everything, those weren't given to you by the world. They were created by your assumption of that state. The key to constant renewal, to feeling perpetually alive, lies in understanding that consciousness is the only reality. Whatever you feel to be true, whatever state you occupy in consciousness, must be reflected in your external world. What most people don't realize is that feeling alive isn't something that happens to you. Your consciousness is the gateway through which all experiences flow. When you change your consciousness, you change the entire spectrum of your experiences. Consider the vastness of the universe for a moment. Billions of galaxies, infinite possibilities, all existing simultaneously. Yet you experience only what you accept as possible in your consciousness. Your current experience of life is merely one tiny channel on an infinite broadcast spectrum. The universe is constantly trying to repay you with experiences that match your highest vision. But here's the crucial point. You must tune your consciousness to receive these experiences. Just as a radio can only receive the frequencies it's tuned to, your consciousness can only experience what it's aligned with. Most people live their entire lives never adjusting their frequency. They stay tuned to the same channel of limited experiences, never realizing they have access to the entire spectrum of existence. They feel stuck, stagnant, barely alive, when infinite vitality is available to them. Let me share something profound about the nature of feeling alive. When you truly feel alive, you're not just experiencing life, you're creating it. Every moment of genuine aliveness is a moment of pure creation. In those moments, you're not separate from the creative force of the universe. You are that force individualized. But here's where most people miss the mark. They try to feel alive through external stimulation. They chase experiences, relationships, achievements, never realizing that these things can't make them feel alive. They can only reflect the aliveness that already exists within their consciousness. The universe is waiting to repay you with experiences that will take your breath away, but it can only give you what you're prepared to receive in consciousness. If you're operating from a state of emotional deadness, of limited expectations, that's exactly what will be reflected back to you. Think about the times when you felt most alive. In those moments, you weren't trying to feel alive, you simply were alive. You weren't reaching for something outside yourself. You were fully present in your own being. That's the state from which miracles flow. The secret that most people miss is that the universe doesn't respond to what you want. responds to what you are. If you're constantly living in a state of wanting to feel alive, you're actually affirming your current state of not feeling alive. This is why so many people remain stuck despite their best efforts. Let me share with you a profound truth about consciousness. Your consciousness is not confined to your physical body. It extends to everything you're aware of. When you feel truly alive, that aliveness permeates your entire world. Everything you touch, everyone you interact with, must reflect that state back to you. Most people don't realize that they are constantly creating their reality through their state of consciousness. Every moment, every interaction, every experience is shaped by the state you're occupying. If you're operating from a state of limited aliveness, your experiences will reflect that limitation. Consider this. The universe is not a random collection of events and circumstances. It's a perfect mirror, reflecting back to you your own consciousness. When you understand this, you'll realize why some people seem to live charmed lives while others struggle continuously. The key to receiving unexpected blessings from the universe lies in expanding your consciousness to embrace more life, not just theoretically, but actually feeling more alive in your day-to-day existence. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about positive being. Most people live in a state of emotional contraction. They've learned to suppress their natural vitality, to dim their light, to exist rather than truly live. But I tell you this, that contracted state is not natural. Your natural state is one of expanding aliveness. Think about a time when you felt absolutely unstoppable. In that moment, you weren't doing anything special. You were simply being in a state of expanded consciousness. That state is always available to you. It's not something to achieve. It's something to allow. The universe is constantly trying to give you more life, more vitality, more experiences that make you feel truly alive. But it can only give you what you're willing to receive in consciousness. Listen carefully now, because this is where most people go wrong. They think they need to work harder, do more, achieve more to feel alive. But I tell you, feeling alive is your natural state. You don't need to earn it. You only need to remove the barriers you've placed in your consciousness. Think of your consciousness as an infinite ocean of possibilities. Right now, you're experiencing only a tiny drop of that ocean. Not because the rest isn't available to you, but because you've limited yourself through your assumptions about what's possible. The universe is preparing to repay you in ways that will astonish you, but you must be ready to receive. This readiness isn't about external preparation. It's about expanding your consciousness to embrace more life, more possibilities, more of everything that makes you feel vibrantly alive. Most people live in a state of constant preparation, always getting ready for life, but never fully living it. They're waiting for the perfect moment, the right circumstances, the ideal conditions. But I tell you this, the perfect moment is now. The ideal condition is your current consciousness expanded to embrace more life. Consider how a flower blooms. It doesn't struggle or strain. It doesn't try to force its petals open. It simply allows its natural state of blossoming to unfold. Your consciousness works the same way. When you stop struggling and start allowing, when you cease trying to feel alive and simply Allow yourself to be alive. Everything changes. The universe operates through law, not luck. When you maintain a state of expanded consciousness, of genuine aliveness, that state must, by law, be reflected in your external world. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the operation of universal law. Most people don't realize that their current circumstances are simply their past assumptions made manifest. Whatever you're experiencing now is the result of the state you've been occupying in consciousness. Change the state and you change everything. But here's the crucial point. You can't fake this. You can't pretend to feel alive and expect the universe to respond. You must actually occupy the state of expanded consciousness, of genuine aliveness. The secret to receiving unexpected blessings lies in understanding that the universe doesn't respond to your desires. It responds to your assumptions. When you assume a state of expanded consciousness, when you live from that state consistently, the universe must conform to match your assumption. Most people make the mistake of trying to change their circumstances while maintaining the same consciousness. They want different results, but continue operating from the same limited state. This is like planting apple seeds and expecting to grow oranges. Let me share something profound about the nature of consciousness. Your consciousness is creative. It's constantly creating your reality, whether you're aware of it or not. Every moment, you're either creating from a state of expanded awareness or from a state of limitation. Think about the last time something amazing happened unexpectedly. In that moment, weren't you in a state of openness, of expanded possibilities? That state wasn't created by the circumstance. The circumstance was created by the state. The universe is waiting to shower you with experiences that will make your heart sing. But you must be vibrating at the frequency of those experiences. You must be living from the state that matches what you want to receive. Most people live in a state of emotional constriction, constantly bracing themselves against life. They've learned to expect limitations, to anticipate problems, to prepare for the worst. But I tell you this, that contracted state is creating more of the very things they're trying to avoid. Consider how different your life would be if you lived constantly from a state of expanded consciousness. If you moved through each day feeling fully alive, fully present, fully open to receiving. That state isn't something to achieve. It's something to allow. The universe operates with mathematical precision. Whatever state you occupy in consciousness must be reflected in your external world. This isn't theory. This is law. The most crucial understanding you must grasp is that your current state of consciousness is creating your future experiences. Every moment you spend feeling limited, constrained, or barely alive is setting the stage for more of the same. But every moment you spend in expanded consciousness is creating future moments of unexpected blessings. Think about this deeply. The universe isn't withholding anything from you. It's constantly offering you everything. But you can only receive what your consciousness is prepared to accept. Right? If you're living in a state of emotional contraction, you're literally closing the door to countless blessings. Most people live as if life is happening to them, when in truth, life is happening through them. Your consciousness is the lens through which all your experiences are filtered. Change the lens, and you change everything you see and experience. Consider the difference between watching a sunset while feeling fully alive and watching the same sunset while feeling emotionally numb. The sunset hasn't changed, but your experience of it is completely different. This is how consciousness shapes reality. The universe is preparing to repay you with experiences that will transform your understanding of what's possible. But you must be ready. This readiness isn't about external preparation. It's about maintaining a state of expanded consciousness consistently. Most people can't sustain an expanded state because they're constantly reacting to external circumstances. They allow their state to be determined by what's happening around them, rather than allowing their state to determine what happens. Let me share something profound about the nature of reality. Everything you experience is a reflection of your consciousness. There is no such thing as an external event that isn't connected to your state of consciousness. Everything is yourself pushed out. When you understand this, you'll realize why some people seem to live charmed lives while others struggle constantly. It's not about luck or fate. It's about the state of consciousness they consistently occupy. The key to receiving unexpected blessings lies in maintaining an expanded state, regardless of external circumstances. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means understanding that your consciousness creates reality. Think about a time when everything in your life seemed to flow effortlessly. In that state, you weren't doing anything different externally. You were being different internally. You were operating from a state of expanded consciousness. Most people spend their lives trying to arrange circumstances to feel better, when they should be arranging their consciousness to create better circumstances. The sequence is crucial. First the state, then the manifestation. Your task is simple, though not always easy. You must maintain a state of expanded consciousness, regardless of what your senses show you. You must feel fully alive, even when circumstances suggest otherwise. You must live from the end, feeling what you want to experience before it manifests externally. The universe operates through immutable laws. Whatever state you consistently occupy in consciousness must be reflected in your external world. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the operation of law. As you leave here tonight, remember this. The universe is not separate from you. It is you extended. Every blessing you receive, every unexpected gift, every moment of synchronicity is simply your consciousness made manifest. Don't wait for external circumstances to make you feel alive. Choose to feel alive now. Don't wait for success to feel successful. Occupy that state now. Don't wait for abundance to feel abundant. Live from that state now. The universe will repay you not based on what you do, but based on who you are being in consciousness. Be the person who lives fully, who embraces life completely, who expects miracles as naturally as breathing. Your role is not to make things happen. Your role is to assume the state that allows things to happen. Live from that state consistently and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your assumption. Remember, the power that you seek is not outside you. It is your very consciousness. Use it wisely. Use it consistently. Use it with the understanding that every moment of expanded consciousness is creating future moments of unexpected blessing. Go forth now, not to achieve, but to be. Not to get, but to embody. Not to become, but to assume. For in this lies the secret of receiving everything you've ever desired and more than you could ever imagine. The universe is waiting to repay you in ways beyond your current comprehension. But you must be ready. You must be willing. You must be living in the state of consciousness that matches what you want to receive. That is your task. That is your opportunity. That is your destiny. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. Choose now. Choose to live from the state of consciousness that matches your highest vision. For in that choice lies everything you've ever wanted and more than you've ever dreamed possible. Every experience, every circumstance, every person you encounter is but a reflection of your inner state. And it is through the power of your imagination that you shape this world. When I say shut up when you are happy, I'm not speaking of busy islands, but rather of profound inner stillness. It is the quieting of that incessant voice within you that constantly chatters about your current circumstances, your worries and your doubts. This inner voice, my dear friends, is the very thing that keeps you tethered to your present reality, preventing you from stepping in that future you desire. Consider for a moment, have you ever achieved a goal, experienced a moment of pure joy, only to have that feeling quickly dissipated by thoughts of what's next, or this won't last? This, my friends, is the chatter I'm referring to. It is the noise that drowns out the whispers of your divine imagination. When you learn to shut up in these moments of happiness, you are not merely enjoying a fleeting emotion. You are, in fact, entering a state of consciousness that is in perfect alignment with your desires. This state of being is the very foundation upon which your future experiences will be built. Imagine, if you will, that you have just received wonderful news. Perhaps you've been offered your dream job, or you've just met the love of your life. In that moment of pure elation, your entire being is vibrating at a frequency of joy and fulfillment. This is the precise moment when you must learn to shut up. But what does it mean to shut up in this context? It means to fully inhabit that feeling of joy, to marinate in it, to let it permeate every fiber of your being without allowing therapy or to raise a head to potential problems or doubts. It means to silence the voice that says yes, but, and instead to simply be in that perfect state of happiness. You see, my dear friends, this state of pure, unadulterated happiness is your natural state. It is the state from which all of your desires spring forth. When you can learn to dwell in this state, to shut up and simply be happy, you are aligning yourself with the very source of creation. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can I be happy when my current circumstances are less than ideal? And to this I say, your circumstances do not dictate your state of being. It is your state of being that dictates your circumstances. Remember, the world you see around you is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner state. If you persist in a state of happiness, regardless of your current circumstances, those circumstances must change to reflect your inner reality. This is the law of consciousness, as immutable as the law of gravity. Let me share with you a simple technique to practice this principle. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Perhaps it's a conversation with a friend where you're sharing your joy about your new circumstances. Feel the happiness, the excitement, the gratitude that would accompany this scene. Now, here's the crucial part. As you open your eyes and return to your current reality, maintain that feeling of joy and fulfillment. Do not allow your mind to immediately begin listing all the reasons why this imagined scene cannot be true. This is what it means to shut up when you are happy. You see, my friends, your imagination is the very gateway to the realm of infinite possibilities. When you imagine a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire, You are not merely daydreaming or fantasizing. You are, in fact, experiencing a reality that already exists in potential form. The power of your consciousness is such that it can collapse these infinite potential into your physical reality. But this can only happen when you learn to shut up and maintain that state of joy and fulfillment, even in the face of contrary evidence in your physical world. Consider the biblical phrase, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness, this shutting up, is not a passive state of inaction. It is rather a profound acknowledgement of the creative power within you. It is a recognition that the I am within you is the very source of all creation. When you shut up and maintain your state of happiness, you are declaring to the universe, "I am that which I desire to be." And the universe, which is nothing more than an outpicturing of your consciousness, has no choice but to conform to this declaration. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how long must I maintain this state? How long must I shut up before I see results in my physical reality? And to this I say, time is a construct of the human mind. In the realm of consciousness where all creation takes place, there is no time. Your job is not to worry about when or how your desire will manifest. Your job is simply to maintain the state of the wish fulfilled, to shut up when you are happy, to dwell in that state of joy and fulfillment, knowing with absolute certainty that what you have imagined must come to pass. Remember, my dear friends, that creation is finished. All possible states already exist. Your job is not to create your desire, but to simply step into the state where your desire is already fulfilled. And you do this by shutting up when you are happy, by maintaining that state of joy and fulfillment, regardless of what your physical senses may be telling you. Let me give you an example to illustrate this principle. Imagine a man who desires financial abundance. He may look at his current bank balance and feel despair. But if he understands the principle we're discussing today, he will shut up in that moment of despair. Instead, he will imagine a scene that implies his financial abundance. Perhaps he imagines looking at his bank statement and seeing a balance that far exceeds his current reality. He feels the joy, the relief, the excitement that comes with this newfound abundance. And here's the crucial part. As he opens his eyes and returns to his current reality, he maintains that feeling of abundance. He shuts up when he's happy. He doesn't allow his mind to immediately begin listing all the reasons why this financial abundance is impossible. He doesn't just planning how he'll make it happen. He simply dwells in the state of the wish fulfilled, knowing that his outer world must conform to his inner state. This, my friends, is the true meaning of faith. It is not a blind belief in something outside of yourself. It is an absolute knowing that what you have imagined must come to pass because you have aligned yourself with the creative power of the universe. Now let's delve deeper into the practical application of this principle. How do you maintain this state of happiness, this inner quietude in the face of a world that seems to constantly challenge your desired state? The key lies in understanding that your reactions to external events are entirely within your control. When circumstances arise that seem to contradict your desired state, you have a choice. You can allow these circumstances to pull you out of your state of happiness, or you can choose to shut up and maintain your enjoy. This doesn't mean ignoring your current reality or living in denial. It means understanding that your current reality is nothing more than a shadow of past thoughts and beliefs. By maintaining your state of happiness, you are casting a new shadow, creating a new reality that must conform to your inner state. Consider the story of Job in the Bible. Despite losing everything, Job maintained his faith. He shut up in the face of adversity, refusing to let his circumstances dictate his inner state. And in the end, his reality conformed to his unwavering faith. You, my dear friends, are faced with this same choice every moment of every day. Will you allow the circumstances of your life to dictate your inner state? Or will you choose to shut up when you're happy, to maintain that state of joy and fulfillment, regardless of what your senses are telling you? Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no power to create or to destroy. It is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. When you truly understand this, you will see that there is nothing to fear in your external reality. It is clay in your hands, ready to be molded by the power of your consciousness. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this just ignoring reality? And to this I say, this is far more than positive thinking. This is about understanding the fundamental nature of reality itself. You see, what you call reality is nothing more than a consensual hallucination. It is a shared dream, that we all participate in. But just as you can change the course of a dream by becoming aware that you're being, you can change the course of your life by becoming aware of your true nature as the dreamer of your reality. When you shut up when you're happy, when you maintain that state of joy and fulfillment, regardless of your circumstances, you are not ignoring reality. You are creating a new reality. You are exercising your divine right as a co-creator of the universe. Let me share with you another technique to help you practice this principle. Throughout your day, pause periodically and ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire were already fulfilled? Then, allow yourself to fully experience that feeling. Shut up and dwell in that state of happiness, even if only for a few moments. As you practice this, you'll find that it becomes easier to maintain this state for longer periods. You'll find yourself naturally shutting up when you're happy, dwelling in that state of fulfillment more and more often. And as you do this, you'll begin to notice changes in your outer world. At first, these changes may be small. Perhaps you'll notice more synchronicities in your life, more lucky coincidences. But as you persist in your new state, these changes will become more profound. You see, my friends, the universe has no choice but to conform to your inner state. When you consistently maintain a state of joy and fulfillment, your outer world must rearrange itself to match this inner reality. This is the law of consciousness, and it is absolute. Now, let's address another question that may be arising in your minds. Neville, you'll be thinking, what about out action? Don't we need to take action to achieve our desires? And to this I say, inspired action will naturally flow from your new state of being. When you shut up, when you're happy, when you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, you align yourself with the creative power of the universe. From this aligned state, you will naturally be inspired to take actions that support the manifestation of your desire. But here's the crucial difference. These actions will not come from a place of lack or need. They will not be driven by fear or desperation. Instead, they will flow naturally and effortlessly from your state of joy and fulfillment. You see, when you truly embody the state of the wish fulfilled, when you shut up and maintain that inner happiness regardless of your circumstances, you begin to see opportunities that were always there but were previously invisible to you. It's as if you're tuning into a different frequency. Just as a radio can only pick up the stations it's tuned to, your consciousness can only perceive the opportunities that align with your inner state. When you maintain a state of joy and fulfillment, you naturally tune into the frequency of abundance and opportunity. Let me give you another example to illustrate this principle. Imagine a woman who desires a loving relationship. She may look at her current circumstances and feel lonely, but if she understands the principle that we're discussing today, she will shut up in that moment of loneliness. Instead, she will imagine a scene that implies she is in a loving relationship. Perhaps she imagines introducing her partner to her friends, feeling the joy and contentment of being in a loving partnership. And here's the crucial part. As she opens her eyes and returns to her current reality, she maintains that feeling of being loved and in a relationship. She shuts up when she's happy. She doesn't allow her mind to immediately begin listing all the reasons why the relationship is impossible. She doesn't start planning how she'll meet someone. She simply dwells in the state of the wish fulfilled, knowing that her outer world must conform to her inner state. Now, from this state of being in a loving relationship, she may be inspired to join a new club or attend a social event. But she doesn't do this out of desperation to meet someone. She does it because it aligns with her new state of being. And because she's operating from this state of fulfillment, she naturally attracts experiences that match this state. This, my dear friends, is the true power of shutting up when you're happy. It's not about forcing yourself to feel positive emotions when you're feeling down. It's about recognizing those moments of genuine happiness, those glimpses of your desired state, and learning to dwell in them. It's about understanding that these moments of happiness are not just fleeting emotions, but glimpses of your true nature. They are windows into the reality that already exists for you in potential form. Your job is simply to step into that reality by maintaining that state of happiness. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, what about the suffering in the world? Isn't it selfish to focus on my own happiness when there's so much pain around me? And to this I say, your joy is not separate from the joy of the world. In fact, by maintaining your state of happiness, you are contributing to the elevation of consciousness for all of humanity. You see, we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. When you elate your own state, you are elevating the state of the inhuman collective. Your joy ripples out into the world, affecting everyone and everything around you in ways you may not even be aware of. Moreover, when you operate from a state of joy and fulfillment, you are in a much better position to help others. Think about it. Who is better equipped to lift others up, someone who is mired in misery and lack, or someone who is radiating joy and abundance? By shutting up when you're happy, by maintaining that state of joy and fulfillment, you become a beacon of light in the world. You inspire others not through your words, but through your very being. You demonstrate the possibility of living from a state of joy regardless of circumstances. Let's delve even deeper on this concept. When I say shut up when you're happy, I'm not suggesting that you should never express your joy or share your good fortune with others. Rather, I'm urging you to shut up the doubting voice within, the voice that seeks to diminish your joy or question its validity. You see, many of us have been conditioned to believe that we don't deserve happiness, that it's somehow wrong or selfish to feel joyful when others are suffering. But this belief is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of reality. Joy is your natural state. It is the state from which all creation springs forth. When you allow us to fully experience and dwell in this state, you are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. You are fulfilling your divine purpose as a co-creator of reality. Now let's address another aspect of this principle. Some of you may be wondering, but Neville, what about gratitude? Aren't we supposed to express gratitude for good things in our lives? And to this I say gratitude, God, of thanking an external force for the good in your life. It is about recognizing that you are the source of all that you experience. When you shut up when you're happy, when you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, without questioning or doubting, or expressing the highest form of gratitude, you are acknowledging your oneness with the creative power of the universe. You are recognizing that the good in your life is not something given to you by an external force, but a manifestation of your own divine nature. This understanding transforms the way you approach gratitude. Instead of saying thank you for this blessing, you simply dwell in the state of having that blessing, knowing that it is a natural expression of your true self. This is shutting up when you're happy in its purest form. Let me share with you another technique to help you practice this principle. Throughout your day, whenever you experience a moment of joy or satisfaction, no matter how small, pause and fully inhabit that feeling. Don't immediately rush to the next thing. Don't allow your mind to start planning or worrying. Simply be in that state of happiness. As you practice this, you'll find that these moments of joy become more frequent and more prolonged. You'll begin to notice the abundance of happiness that already exists in your life. And as you dwell in these states of happiness, you'll find that your external reality begins to shift to match your inner state. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, what about when bad things happen? How can I shut up and be happy when I'm facing real challenges? And to this I say, remember that what you perceive as bad is a judgment based on your current perspective. Every experience, every circumstance in your life is an opportunity to practice this principle. When faced with a challenging situation, instead of reacting with fear or anger, pause and ask yourself, how do I feel if this situation were already resolved in the best possible way? Then shut up and dwell in that feeling of relief and satisfaction. You see, by doing this, you are not denying the current circumstances. You are simply choosing to align yourself with the solution rather than the problem. You are shutting up the voice of fear and doubt, and instead dwelling in the state of the wish fulfilled. This doesn't mean that you ignore the situation or fail to take appropriate action. It means that you take action from a state of confidence and assurance, knowing that the solution already exists. This is the power of shutting up when you're happy, even in the face of apparent adversity. Let's explore this concept further. When you shut up, when you're happy, you are essentially entering a state of allowing. You are allowing your desires to manifest without resistance. You are aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation. Think of it like this: the universe is constantly offering you everything you'd ever. It's like a cosmic buffet, laden with all the experiences, relationships, and abundance you could ever want. But if you're constantly chattering about what you lack, about your worries and doubts, you're effectively pushing away from this buffet. When you shut up when you're happy, you're pulling up a chair to this cosmic buffet. You're saying, yes, I'll have that, and that too. You're allowing the abundance of the universe to flow into your life without resistance. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Neville, doesn't this mean we should suppress our negative emotions? Isn't it important to acknowledge and process our feelings? And to this I say, acknowledging your emotions is important, but dwelling in negative states is not necessary for processing them. You see, every emotion is simply feedback. It's information about your current alignment with your desires. When you feel negative emotions, it's an indication that you're focusing on what you don't want rather than what you do want. The solution is not to dwell in these negative states, but to shift your focus back to what you desire. This is where the practice of shutting up when you're happy becomes so powerful. By consciously choosing to dwell in positive states, even for short periods, you're training yourself to align with what you want. You're building new neural pathways that make it easier and easier to maintain these positive states. Let me give you another example to illustrate this principle. Imagine a man who desires better health. He may look at his current physical condition and feel discouraged. But if he understands the principle we're discussing today, he will shut up in that moment of discouragement. Instead, he would imagine a scene that implies his perfect health. Perhaps he imagines effortlessly running a marathon, feeling the strength and vitality in his body. And here's the crucial part. As he opens his eyes and returns to his current reality, he maintains that feeling of health and vitality. He shuts up when he's happy. He doesn't allow his mind to immediately begin listing all the reasons why level of health is impossible. He doesn't start worrying about his current symptoms or planning a rigorous health regimen. He simply dwells in a state of perfect health, knowing that his outer world must conform to his inner state. Now, from this state of perfect health, he may be inspired to make different food choices or to engage in physical activities. But he doesn't do this out of fear or desperation. He does it because it aligns with his new state of being. And because he's operating from this state of health and vitality, he naturally attracts experiences that match this state. This, my dear friends, is the transformative power of shutting up when you're happy. It's about recognizing that your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. By maintaining a state of joy and fulfillment, you are literally reshaping your reality. Now, let's address another important aspect of this principle. Some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how do I maintain this state of happiness when I'm surrounded by negativity? How do I shut up and stay happy when others are constantly complaining or spreading fear? And to this, I say, remember that you are the operant power in your reality. The thoughts and emotions of others have no power over you unless you give them that power. When you shut up when you're happy, you are declaring your independence from the collective consciousness of lack and limitation. This doesn't mean you become insensitive to the struggles of others. It means you maintain your state of joy and fulfillment as a gift to those around you. You become a living example of the possibility of happiness regardless of circumstances. Think of it like this. If you were in a dark room with a group of people, would it be more helpful to join them in complaining about the darkness or to light a candle? When you shut up when you're happy, you are lighting that candle. You are illuminating the possibility of joy for everyone around you. Let's delve even deeper into this concept. When you shut up when you're happy, you are essentially entering a state of faith. Not faith in an external power, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. You see, faith is not about believing in something despite evidence to the contrary. True faith is about knowing that what you desire must come to pass, because you have aligned yourself with the creative power of the universe. When you shut up when you're happy, when you maintain that state of joy and fulfillment regardless of your current circumstances, you are exercising this type of faith. You are declaring to the universe, I know that what I desire is already mine, in the realm of infinite possibilities, and I choose to dwell in that reality now. This type of faith is unshakable because it's not based on external circumstances. It's based on your understanding of the fundamental nature of reality. It's based on your recognition of your true identity as the operant power in your world. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, isn't this just magical thinking? How can simply feeling happy change my external reality? And to this I say, what you call magical thinking is simply a recognition of the true nature of consciousness. You see, consciousness is the only reality. What you perceive as your external world is nothing more than a projection of your consciousness. When you change your inner state, you are literally changing the projection. This is not magic. This is the fundamental law of creation. Let me give you one final example to illustrate this principle. Imagine a woman who desires to advance in her career. She may look at her current job situation and feel stuck. But if she understands the principle we're discussing today, she will shut up in that moment of frustration. Instead, she will imagine a scene that implies her career advancement. Perhaps she imagines receiving congratulations from her colleagues on her new position. And here's the crucial part. As she opens her eyes and returns to her current reality, she maintains that feeling of success and accomplishment. She shuts up when she's happy. She doesn't allow her mind to immediately begin listing all the reasons why this career advancement is impossible. She doesn't start stressing about how to make it happen. She simply dwells in the state of career success, knowing that her outer world must conform to her inner state. Now, from this state of career success, she may be inspired to take on new projects or to network with certain individuals. But she doesn't do this out of desperation or fear of missing out. She does it because it aligns with her new state of being. And because she's operating from this state of success, she naturally attracts opportunities that match the state. This, my dear friend, is the true power of shutting up when you're happy. It's about recognizing those moments of alignment with your desires, those glimpses of your ideal state, and learning to dwell in them. It's about understanding that these moments of happiness are not just fleeting emotions, but windows into the reality that already exists for you in potential form. Your job is simply to step into that reality by maintaining that state of happiness, by shutting up the doubting voice, the voice of lack and limitation, and instead dwelling in the state of the wish fulfilled. As we come to the close of our discussion, I want to leave you with this final thought. The power to shape your reality lies within you. It always has, and it always will. When you shut up, when you're happy, when you learn to dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, you are claiming this power. You are declaring to the universe, I am that which I desire to be. And the universe, which is nothing more than an outpicturing of your consciousness, has no choice but to conform to this declaration. So, my dear friends, I urge you, shut up when you're happy. Dwell in that state of joy and fulfillment. Maintain it regardless of what your senses may be telling you. For in doing so, you are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. You are stepping into your true identity as the author of your reality. Remember, creation is finished. All possible states already exist. Your job is not to create your desire, but to simply step into the state where your desire is already fulfilled. And you do this by shutting up when you're happy, by maintaining that state of joy and fulfillment, regardless of what your physical senses may be telling you. Go forth, my friends, and practice this principle. Shut up when you're happy. Dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, and watch as your world transforms to match your inner reality. For you are the operant power, the author of your life story. Write it well, with joy and with the unwavering faith that comes from understanding your true nature as a divine creator. It is the secret of making the universe respond to your desires, of shaping reality itself through the power of your imagination. Now I know what some of you may be thinking. Never, you might say, how can this be possible? How can my mere thoughts and imaginings affect the solid, tangible world around me? And to that I say, not only is it possible, it is the very foundation of all creation, the bedrock upon which our entire existence is built. You see, my dear friends, the world you perceive around you, the chair you're sitting on, the air you're breathing, the thoughts of the person next to you, all of it is nothing more than a reflection of your own consciousness. The universe in all its infinite wisdom and glory is responding moment by moment to the state of your imagination, to the assumptions you hold about yourself and the world. Let me be clear, when I speak of imagination, I'm not referring to idle daydreams or fleeting fantasies. No, I am speaking of something far more profound, far more fundamental to your being. Your imagination, properly understood and applied, is your very self. It is God in action within you. It is in essence the creative power of the universe focused through the lens of your individual consciousness. Now I can see the skepticism in some of your eyes. You're wondering if this is true. Why isn't my life perfect? Why do I face challenges and setbacks? And to that I say, because you're yet fully awakened to your true nature, to the immense power that lies dormant within you. You see, most people go through life believing they are at the mercy of external circumstances. They believe that their lives are shaped by forces beyond their control, by their upbringing, their environment, their genes, or even by some capricious deity who doles out blessings and curses at will. But I am here to tell you, with absolute certainty, that nothing could be further from the truth. You, my dear friends, are the operant power in your life. You are the one who shapes your reality, who determines your fate. And you do this not through your actions in the outer world, but through the states you occupy in your imagination. Now let me explain what I mean by states. A state is a mindset, a way of being, a particular arrangement of your consciousness. When you embody a state, be it one of wealth, health, love, or success, you are in that moment, that very thing. And here's the crucial point. The outer world has no choice but to conform to the state you have assumed. This, my friends, is the law that governs all creation. It is immutable, unchanging, and it operates with perfect precision in every moment of your existence. The world is nothing more than a mirror, faithfully reflecting back to you the state you have assumed. But here's where most people stumble. They look at their current circumstances, at the limitations and lack in their lives, and they assume that this is their reality. They accept it as an unchangeable fact, not realizing that by doing so, they are perpetuating those very conditions. You see, the secret to changing your life, to making the universe respond, lies in your ability to disregard the evidence of your senses and instead live from the end. What do I mean by this? I mean that you must have the courage and the imagination to see your desires already fulfilled, to experience in your mind the joy and satisfaction of your wish realized. This, my friends, is the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the cornerstone of all successful manifestation, the key that unlocks the infinite potential of your imagination. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, how can I possibly feel something that isn't true? How can I convince myself of a reality that doesn't exist? And to that I say, you are already doing it every moment of your life. Every belief you hold, every assumption you make about yourself and the world, is nothing more than an act of imagination that you have accepted as truth. The only difference is that most people imagine unconsciously, allowing their minds to be shaped by past experiences and current circumstances. But you, my dear friends, have the power to imagine consciously, to deliberately choose the states you will occupy. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Imagine a man who desires wealth. He looks at his current bank balance, at the bills piling up on his desk, and he feels poor. He walks down the street, sees luxury cars and expensive shops, and he feels lack. In every moment he is affirming his poverty, he is assuming the state of being poor. Now contrast this with a man who understands the power of imagination. This man, regardless of his current circumstances, chooses to assume the state of wealth. When he walks down that same street, he doesn't see things he can't afford. He sees evidence of abundance that is already his. When he looks at his bills, he feels gratitude for the services he's received and the ability to pay for them. In his imagination, he feels the crisp texture of large bills in his wallet. He experiences the peace of mind that comes with financial security. He savors the freedom to live as he chooses, to help others, to pursue his passions without concern for money. Which of these men do you think is more likely to manifest actual wealth in the outer world? The answer, of course, is clear. The universe can only respond to the state you occupy, to the assumptions you hold about yourself and your place in the world. Now, I want to address a common misconception. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this just fooling myself? And to that I say, absolutely not. What I'm describing goes far beyond mere positive thinking or affirmations. You see, positive thinking operates on the level of the conscious mind. It's an attempt to override negative thoughts with more positive ones. But the power I'm speaking of, the power to make the universe respond, operates at a much deeper level. It's not about thinking positively, it's about being positively. When you truly assume a state in your imagination, when you occupy it fully, you are not fooling yourself. You are in that moment actually becoming the person who has what you desire. You are shifting your entire consciousness, aligning yourself with the reality you wish to experience. This is why simply repeating affirmations or visualizing your desires often falls short. These techniques can be useful, but they're not enough on their own. To truly change your life, to make the universe respond, you must feel the reality of your desire. You must experience it so vividly in your imagination. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Neville, you might say, I've tried this. I've imagined what I want. I've tried to feel it real, but nothing has changed. And to that I say persistence is key. Remember, you are undoing a lifetime of habitual thinking and feeling. You are dismantling deeply ingrained beliefs about yourself and the world. This is not always an easy process. It requires dedication. It requires faith. And above all, it requires persistence. You must be willing to maintain your assumed state, even when all evidence points to the contrary. You must have courage to disregard the world of shadows and live fully in the world of imagination. Let me share with you a story that illustrates this point. I once knew a woman who desperately wanted to be married. She had been single for years, and despite her best efforts, she couldn't seem to find the right partner. She came to me frustrated and disheartened, asking for help. I instructed her to imagine every night before sleep that she was already married to the perfect partner. I told her to feel the ring on her finger, to experience the warmth of her lover's embrace, to hear the words of love and commitment whispered in her ear. At first she found this difficult. Her loneliness and frustration kept intruding on her imaginal scene, but she persisted. Night after night she lived in her imagination as a happily married woman, and slowly something began to change. She noticed that she felt different during the day. She carried herself with more confidence. She interacted with men differently, free from the desperation that had previously colored her interactions. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, she met someone. The relationship blossomed quickly, and within a year she was married to a man who matched perfectly the one she had been imagining. Now, some might call this a coincidence, but I assure you it was anything but. This woman had changed her state, had shifted her consciousness, and the universe had no choice but to respond in kind. This, my dear friends, is the power that lies within each and every one of you. The power to shape your reality, to mold the universe itself through the power of your imagination. But let me be clear, this is not about controlling others or manipulating external circumstances. The only thing you can ever change is yourself. But when you change yourself, when you shift your state, when you assume a new way of being, the entire world reshapes itself to match your new self-concept. Now I want to address another important point. Some of you might be wondering, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do something in the outer world to make our desires a reality? And to that I say inspired action will flow naturally from your assumed state. You see, when you truly occupy a state of the wish fulfilled, when you live from the end, your actions in the outer world will naturally align with your desire. You won't have to force yourself to take action. You won't have to push against resistance. Instead, you'll find yourself naturally drawn to take the right actions at the right time. This is because your outer world is nothing more than an expression of your inner state. When you change your state, your perception changes and new opportunities become visible to you. Doors that were previously closed suddenly open. People and circumstances that can help you achieve your desire are drawn into your life, as if by magic. But remember, the action is not the cause of your manifestation, it is the result. The true cause is always the state you occupy in your imagination. This is why two people can take the same actions in the outer world and achieve vastly different results. It's not the action itself that determines the outcome, but the state from which the action springs. Now let's delve deeper into the mechanics of how this process works. Using your subconscious mind, which is really your connection to the infinite intelligence of the universe, doesn't distinguish between what you imagine vividly and what you have to experience in the outer world. To your subconscious, they are one and the same. This is why your imaginal acts are so powerful. When you imagine something vividly, when you occupy a state fully in your imagination, your subconscious accepts it as reality. And once your subconscious accepts something as real, it goes to work to make it so in your outer world. This is not some mystical or supernatural process, as it's simply the way consciousness operates. Your consciousness is the only reality. What you assume to be true, what you believe in the depths of your being, must be expressed in your outer world. This is an inviolable law of consciousness. Now, I want to address a question that often arises when I speak about these principles. Some of you might be wondering, but Neville, what about other people? How can my imagination affect them? And to that I say, there are no others. I know this might sound strange, even solipsistic, but bear with me. You see, the people in your life, the circumstances you encounter, are all of you pushed out. They are reflections of your consciousness, expressions of your assumptions and beliefs. This doesn't mean that other people don't exist or that they don't have free will, but it does mean that your experience of them, your interactions with them are shaped by your consciousness. Change your consciousness and your experience of others will change too. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Imagine a man who believes that people are generally unfriendly, unhelpful. As he goes about his day, he encounters people who seem to confirm this belief. The cashier at the store is curt with him. His co-workers are distant strangers on the street, avoid eye contact. Now imagine this same man decides to change his assumption. He begins to imagine that people are friendly and eager to help. He feels this new assumption as true. He occupies this new state fully in his imagination. And suddenly his experiences begin to change. The same cashier smiles and strikes up a friendly conversation. His co-workers become more open and collaborative. Strangers on the street offer warm smiles. Has the world suddenly changed? Have all these people suddenly become different? Of course not. What has changed is the man's consciousness. And as a result, his perception and experience of the world has shifted. This, my dear friends, is the true power of your imagination. It's not just about manifesting material things or achieving specific goals. It's about shaping your entire experience of reality. It's about becoming the protagon to be, about living in the world you want to inhabit. Now I want to address another important aspect of this work. Some of you might be wondering about the role of desire in this process. You might be asking, Neville, where do our desires come from? And how do we know which desires to pursue? To that I say, your desires are not random. They are not arbitrary whims, fancies. Your desires are messages from your higher self, from the God within you. They are invitations to grow, to expand, to more fully express your divine nature. When you feel a genuine desire, not a selfish want, but a deep, heartfelt longing, that is God's way of telling you what's possible for you. It's a preview of a potential reality that you have the power to manifest. This is why it is so important to honor your desires, to take them seriously. When you dismiss your desires as impossible or unworthy, you are turning your back on your own divinity. You are rejecting the gift that the universe is offering you. But here's the crucial point. The fulfillment of your desire is not the ultimate goal. The real pulse of your desire is to lead you to a new state of being, to a new level of consciousness. The outer manifestation is simply as you have successfully shifted your state. This is why it's so important to focus on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, rather than on the specific details of how it will come about. When you imagine your desire is fulfilled, when you occupy that state fully, you are aligning yourself with the essence of what you want. And often the universe will surprise you by bringing your desire to pass in ways far more wonderful than you could have planned. Now, I want to address a common concern that arises when people begin to work with these principles. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what if I imagine something and it doesn't happen? What if I assume a state and nothing changes? To that I say, have patience, and above all of that, faith. Remember, you are working with the very substance of the universe. You are engaging with the fundamental laws of creation. This is not always an instantaneous process. Sometimes the seed you plant in your imagination will sprout quickly, manifesting in your outer world in a matter of days or weeks. Other times it may take longer. But make no mistake, once you have planted that seed, once you have truly occupied a state in your imagination, the wheels of creation are set in motion. Your manifestation is inevitable, as long as you maintain your faith and persist in your assumption. This is where many people falter. They imagine their desire, they try to feel it real, but when they don't see immediate results, they give up. They return to their old state, their old assumptions, and then wonder why nothing has changed. But I assure you, my dear friends, that every imaginal act you perform is fruitful. Every state you occupy leaves its mark on your subconscious. Even if you don't see immediate results, trust that your imagination is doing its work. Trust that the universe is rearranging itself to match your new set. This trust, this unwavering faith is crucial. You must have faith in the law, faith in the power of your imagination. But more than that, you must have faith in yourself, in your divine nature, in your ability to create your reality. Now let's talk about how to practically apply these principles in your daily life. The first step is to choose your state. What is it that you truly desire? What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to live? Once you've identified your desire, create a scene that implies its fulfillment. This scene should be short, simple, and easy to repeat. It should capture the essence of your desire, the feeling of it being realized. For example, if your desire is for a loving relationship, you might imagine hearing a loved one say, "I'm so happy we're together." Feel the warmth of their embrace, the love in their voice. Make it as vivid and real as possible. If your desire is for financial abundance, you might imagine looking at your bank statement and seeing a balance that thrills you. Feel the sense of security, the freedom that comes with financial abundance. Whatever you're seeing, the key is to make it feel real. Engage all your senses. Don't just see it, hear it, feel it, smell it. Taste it if appropriate. The more real you can make it in your imagination, the more powerful it will be. Now here's the crucial part. You must enter this scene as if it were happening now. Not as a future event, not as something you hope will happen, but as a present reality. You must feel the naturalness of it, the sense that, of course, this is your reality. I recommend practicing this imaginal scene every night as you fall asleep. You see, sleep is a powerful time for impressing your subconscious mind. As you drift off to sleep, your conscious mind relaxes its hold, allowing your imaginal scene to sink deep into your subconscious. But don't limit yourself to nighttime. Throughout your day, whenever one moment, return to your scene. Feel the reality of it. Let the feeling of your wish fulfilled permeate your entire being. Now I want to address another important point. Some of you might be wondering about negative thoughts and doubts. You might be asking, Neville, what if I can't stop my negative thoughts? What if I doubt whether this will work? To that I say, don't fight your negative thoughts. Don't try to force them away. Instead, simply return to your imaginal scene. Return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You see, what you resist persists, but what you accept and then replace fades away. Your negative thoughts or doubts are simply habits of mind. They are old states that you've occupied for so long that they feel natural to you. But remember, you have the power to choose your state. You have the power to decide what you will accept as real. When doubts arise, when negative thoughts intrude, simply acknowledge them and then gently return to your chosen state. Say to yourself, there's that old thought again. But I know the truth. I know what's real. And then immerse yourself once more in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Over time, as you persist in your new state, these old thoughts and doubts will fade away. They'll lose their power over you. You'll find it easier and easier to maintain your chosen state, to live from the end. Now let's talk about something that many people struggle with, letting go. You see, there's a seeming paradox in this work. On one hand, you must live from the state of your wish fulfilled, feeling it as real and present. On the other hand, you must let go of attachment to the outcome. This can be challenging. How can you feel something as real and yet not be attached to it? The key is to understand that your job is not to make your desire happen. Your job is simply to occupy the state. The manifestation, the outer fulfillment, is not your concern. That's the job of the universe. When you truly live from the end, when you fully occupy your desired state, you no longer feel a sense of lack or need. You're not actually waiting for your desire to manifest, because in your imagination it already has. You're simply enjoying the state, savoring the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is true detachment. It's not about not caring whether your desire manifests. It's about knowing that it has already manifested on the level of imagination, which is the only reality. The outer world has no choice but to conform to this inner reality in divine timing and divine order. Now, I want to address a question that often arises when I speak about these principles. Some of you might be wondering, but Neville, what about morality? What if someone uses this power for selfish or harmful purposes? To that I say the law is neutral. Like gravity doesn't distinguish between what we might consider good or bad. It simply responds to the state we occupy. But I assure you that when you truly understand and apply these principles, you will have no desire to harm others or to act selfishly. You see, as you begin to experience your own divine nature, as you realize your oneness with all of creation, your desires naturally align with the highest good. You begin to understand that what blesses one blesses all, that there is no separation between you and others. Moreover, you realize that you don't need to take from others to have what you want. You don't need to compete or struggle. You simply need to assume the state of having or being what you desire, and the universe will respond accordingly. This understanding leads to a profound shift in consciousness. You move from a mindset of lack and limitation to one of abundance and infinite possibility. You realize that there is more than enough for everyone, that one person's gain doesn't have to mean another's loss. Now, as we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principles I've shared with you today are not new. They are as old as consciousness itself. They have been taught by mystics and sages throughout the ages, often veiled in symbolic language. What I've attempted to do is to present these timeless truths in a clear, practical way that you can apply in your daily life. But remember, the real proof of these principles lies not in my words, but in your experience. I encourage you, my dear friends, to test these ideas for yourself. Choose a decisive. Create your scene and live from that state. Persist even when outer appearances seem to contradict your imaginal act. Have faith in the law. Have faith in your own divine nature. And as you do this, as you begin to experience the power of your imagination to shape your reality, you will undergo profound transformation. You will begin to understand, not just intellectually but experientially, that you are the operant power in your life. You will realize that the universe is not something separate from you, but a loving, responsive extension of your own consciousness. This realization, my friends, is true freedom. It's the key to creating the life you desire, to becoming the person you want to be. It's the secret to making the universe respond. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. Everything you experience is a reflection of your own consciousness. Change your consciousness, and you change your world. This is the great secret, the great law. It has always been so, and it will always be so. As you leave here today, I urge you to carry this knowledge with you. Let it infuse every aspect of your life. Use your imagination lovingly and wisely. Create beautiful states for yourself and for others. Live from the state of your wishes fulfilled. For in doing so, you are not just changing your own life. You are participating in the grand dance of creation. You are fulfilling your divine purpose. You are making the universe respond. Not just to your individual desires, but to the highest and best possibilities for all of creation. Go forth, my dear friends, and create wonderfully. For you are the makers of your world, the authors of your destiny. The power is within you. The time is now. The choice is yours. Thank you, and may your imagination be blessed. Let me share with you what actually occurs in consciousness when you stand on the precipice of extraordinary success. Your entire world is about to undergo a transformation so profound that you will hardly recognize your former life. This isn't wishful thinking, it's law. Many of you sit here tonight wondering when your breakthrough will come, when your circumstances will finally reflect your desires. But I tell you this, your wild success isn't coming. It's already here, existing now in your consciousness, waiting to be assumed into expression. Consider this, every person who has ever achieved extraordinary success first achieved it in consciousness. They didn't wait for circumstances to change, they changed their consciousness for consciousness. The outer success was merely the shadow of their inner assumption. When you truly grasp this principle, something remarkable happens to your entire approach to success. You stop seeking it in the outer world and start expressing it from within. You recognize that success isn't something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become in consciousness. Let me tell you something vital about this imminent success. It's not determined by your past, your education, your circumstances, or what others think possible for you. It's determined solely by your assumption, by the concept you hold of yourself in consciousness. Here's a profound truth about your wild success. It already exists in what I call the fourth dimension of infinite possibilities. Your only task is to assume it into this three-dimensional world through the power of your consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement in human history first existed in the consciousness of someone who dared to assume its reality before there was any external evidence. They knew the secret that I'm sharing with you tonight, that consciousness is the only reality. The very success you seek is seeking you, but it can only find you in consciousness. It can only express itself through your assumption of its reality. This assumption of success works with a precision that would astonish you if you could see it from a higher dimension. It operates not through effort or struggle, but through a complete transformation of your inner state. Let me share with you exactly what happens when you truly assume the state of wild success. Your entire inner world begins to reorganize itself. Your thoughts naturally armed with success. Your feelings attuned to success. Your inner conversations reflect success. This isn't something you force, it's something you allow. Many of you try to think successful thoughts while feeling like a failure inside. But I tell you this, success isn't a collection of thoughts. It's a state of consciousness. When you assume the state of success, you don't need to think about success any more than a wealthy person needs to think about wealth. Consider this. When you enter a room, you don't think about being in the room. You simply are in the room. The same must be true of your successful state. You don't think about being successful, you simply are successful. When you truly understand this principle, something remarkable happens to your entire existence. You stop trying to achieve success and start expressing success. The difference is profound. Achievement implies future attainment. Expression implies present reality. Let me tell you something crucial about this state of success. It has nothing to do with comparison or competition. Your wild success is unique to you. It's the full expression of who you really are, not an imitation of someone else's journey. Here's a profound truth about assuming success. It must feel natural to you. If it feels like pretense or affirmation, you haven't truly assumed the state. When you genuinely assume a state, it feels like the most natural thing in the world. Think about this. You don't wake up each morning and affirm that you're human. You don't try to convince yourself that you exist. These states are natural to you. Your successful state must become just as natural. The very essence of success is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. It's not something you create. It's something you allow to emerge through your assumption. This emergence of success through your assumption follows an immutable pattern that, once understood, will transform your entire approach to manifestation. You must understand that success isn't something that happens to you. It's something that happens from you. Let me share with you what actually occurs when success begins to emerge through your assumption. First, your consciousness shifts. You begin to think, feel, and react from the state of success before any external evidence appears. This isn't pretense, it's spiritual law in operation. Many of you wait for external circumstances to make you feel successful. But I tell you this, you have it backwards. Your feeling of success must precede the external manifestation. The outer world merely reflects what you've already accepted as real in consciousness. Consider this. When an oak tree emerges from an acorn, it doesn't gradually become an oak. It is an oak from the very beginning, merely expressing more and more of what it already is. Your success follows the same pattern. You must be it before you can see it. When you truly grasp this principle, something remarkable happens to your daily experience. You stop living in anticipation of success and start living from the consciousness of success already achieved. This shift in consciousness is everything. Let me tell you something vital about this emergence. It often begins with small changes in how you perceive yourself and your world. You'll notice that you naturally begin to speak differently, carry yourself differently, make decisions differently, not through effort, but through your new self-concept. Here's a profound truth about this emergence of success. It must flow from a changed consciousness, not from external efforts alone. All the action in the world cannot produce success if your consciousness remains in a state of limitation or lack. Think about this. Every truly successful person you admire reached their position through this same law, whether they were conscious of it or not. They first assumed the state of success in consciousness, and their outer world had to reflect that inner conviction. The very circumstances that seem to stand between you and success are actually the raw materials from which your success will be fashioned. They are not obstacles, but opportunities for your assumption to prove itself. These circumstances that appear to block your path to success are actually the perfect stage upon which your assumption will prove its power. Every seeming obstacle is an opportunity to express your new state of consciousness. Let me share with you exactly how to use your present circumstances, regardless of their appearance. When you face a situation that seems to contradict your assumption of success, rather than fighting against it or being discouraged by it, you must see it as the perfect opportunity to express your new state. Many of you look at your current circumstances and say, how can I be successful when this situation exists? But I tell you this, circumstances don't determine your success. Your consciousness determines your circumstances. Your assumption of success, maintained regardless of appearances, must reshape your entire world. Consider this. When an artist looks at a blank canvas, they don't see emptiness, they see infinite possibility. The same must be true of your current circumstances. They are not fixed reality. They are the canvas upon which your assumption will paint your success. When you truly understand this principle, something remarkable happens to your perception of problems. You stop seeing them as barriers and start recognizing them as the bridge of incidents leading to your success. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to express your new state. Let me tell you something crucial about handling circumstances. You must learn to react to them from your assumed state of success, not from your old patterns of thought and feeling. Your reactions are the true test of your assumption. Here's a profound truth about circumstances. They have no power to sustain themselves against your sustained assumption. Just as darkness cannot exist in the presence of light, limiting circumstances cannot persist in the presence of your consciousness of success. Think about this. Every circumstance in your life right now is there because of past assumptions. As you maintain your new assumption of success, these circumstances must either transform or dissolve to make way for conditions that match your new consciousness. The very circumstances that seem most opposed to your success are often the ones that, when properly used, will contribute most powerfully to its manifestation. Nothing is against you when you know how to use everything for your assumption. The proper use of circumstances requires a complete reversal of your usual way of thinking. Instead of looking at circumstances to determine what's possible, you must look to your assumption of success and let it determine how you interpret and use every circumstance. Let me share with you exactly how this works in practice. When you encounter any situation, rather than asking, how will this affect my success? Ask yourself, how would I see this situation if I were already the success I desire to be? This shift in perspective changes everything. Many of you analyze circumstances trying to figure out how to overcome them. But I tell you this, circumstances don't need to be overcome. They need to be transformed by your consciousness. Your assumption of success, maintained consistently, will automatically transform every circumstance to match it. Consider this. When you enter a dark room and turn on the light, you don't fight the darkness. You don't strategize about how to remove it. The mere presence of light transforms the entire room. Your consciousness of success works the same way. Its mere presence must transform your entire world. When you truly grasp this principle, something remarkable happens to your response to situations. You stop trying to change circumstances and start changing your consciousness about them. You recognize that every circumstance is neutral until your consciousness gives it meaning. Let me tell you something vital about this transformation. It often begins with what appears to be a complete contradiction to your desire. What seems like failure or setback is actually the rearrangement of conditions necessary for your success to manifest. Here's a profound truth about using circumstances. Every situation, every person, every condition in your life must assumption of success when you know how to use them properly. Nothing can resist the power of a consistently maintained assumption. Think about this. The very circumstances that seem to argue against your success are actually arguing for it when viewed from your new assumption. Every apparent obstacle is really an opportunity in disguise waiting to be transformed by your consciousness. The very resistance you encounter is evidence that your assumption is beginning to reshape your world. Just as muscles must encounter resistance to grow stronger, your assumption proves its power by transforming resistant circumstances. This transformation through your assumption follows a precise pattern that unfolds with mathematical certainty. Just as water must reach 212 degrees Fahrenheit to boil, your consciousness must reach and maintain a certain intensity of conviction for transformation to occur. Let me share with you exactly what happens during this transformation process. As you maintain your assumption of success, your entire world begins to dissolve and reshape itself. Old patterns of experience begin to break down. Old relationships either transform or dissolve. Old limitations start to crumble. Many of you become alarmed when your world begins to shake and change. But I tell you this shaking is necessary. Just as an earthquake results from the realignment of tectonic plates, the shaking in your life results from the realignment of consciousness to match your assumption of success. Consider this. When a caterpillar enters its chrysalis, its entire body dissolves before reforming as a butterfly. It doesn't gradually grow wings, it completely transforms. The same process occurs in your world when you maintain your assumption of success. When you truly understand this principle, something remarkable happens to your tolerance for change. You stop resisting the dissolution of old patterns and start welcoming them as signs that your assumption is taking root. You recognize that chaos often precedes creation. Let me tell you something crucial about this transformation. It doesn't always follow your conscious mind's expectations of how success should come. Your assumption works through infinite wisdom that knows far better than your conscious mind how to bring about your success. Here's a profound truth about this transformative process. It affects everything in your world simultaneously, not just isolated aspects. Your assumption of success transforms your entire life, not just your bank account or your career. Everything must align with your new self-concept. Think about this. Every great success story involves a period of complete transformation where the old life had to give way to the new. This isn't coincidence, it's law. Your assumption of success must transform your entire world to match its nature. The very upheaval that seems to threaten your stability is actually the reorganization necessary for your success to manifest. Nothing can remain in your world that doesn't align with your persistent assumption. This reorganization of your world through the power of your assumption is not random chaos, but perfect order taking shape. Everything that doesn't align with your assumption of success must either transform or be removed from your experience. Let me share with you what actually occurs during this reorganization. Your relationships begin to shift. Some people will be drawn closer while others naturally fade away. Your opportunities begin to change. Old doors close while new ones open. Your very way of thinking reorganizes itself to match your assumption of success. Many of you resist this reorganization, trying to hold on to people, situations, and patterns that no longer serve your new state. But I tell you this, you must let the old order dissolve completely. You cannot pour new wine into old bottles. Your assumption of success demands a complete renewal. Consider this: when you rearrange furniture in a room, there's always a period where everything seems out of place. The room looks worse before it looks better. The same is true of your life as it reorganizes itself to match your assumption of success. When you truly grasp this principle, something remarkable happens to your attitude toward change. You stop seeing disruption as something going wrong and start recognizing it as something going right. You understand that disorder is often the prelude to a higher order. Let me tell you something vital about this reorganization. It works with perfect precision to bring about exactly what your assumption requires. People, circumstances, and opportunities that match your assumed state of success must be drawn into your experience, while anything that contradicts it must be removed. Here's a profound truth about this process. It operates through a wisdom far greater than your conscious mind. Your assumption of success activates a divine intelligence that knows exactly how to reorganize your world for its perfect expression. Think about this. Every success story you've ever heard involved a complete reorganization of the person's life. Old habits had to die. Old associations had to change. Old limitations had to be transcended. This isn't coincidence. It's the law of assumption at work. The very chaos you may be experiencing now is evidence that your assumption is taking hold. Your world must be reorganized to match your new state of consciousness. This divine intelligence operating through assumption works with a precision and wisdom that far exceeds any human planning or strategy. It knows exactly what needs to be dissolved, what needs to be transformed, and what needs to be brought into your experience to manifest your success. Let me share with you how this intelligence actually works in your experience. While your conscious mind may struggle to figure out how success will come, this divine intelligence is already setting in motion a series of events, encounters, and circumstances that will lead inevitably to your success. It operates beyond the limitations of time and space. Many of you try to plan every detail of how your success should manifest. But I tell you this, your conscious planning often limits the infinite ways in which success can come to you. Your only task is to maintain your assumption. Let this higher intelligence handle the how. Consider this: when you plant a seed, you don't need to instruct it how to grow. You don't need to teach it how to form roots, stem, leaves, and flowers. An intelligence within the seed knows exactly what to do. The same is true of your assumption of success. When you truly understand this principle, something remarkable happens to your approach to manifestation. You stop trying to figure everything out with your conscious mind and start trusting this divine intelligence to bring about your success in ways you could never have imagined. Let me tell you something crucial about this intelligence. It operates most effectively when you step out of its way. The more you try to control the process with your conscious mind, the more you interfere with its perfect operation. Here's a profound truth about this divine intelligence. It knows your heart's deepest desires better than you do. It knows exactly what form of success will bring you the greatest fulfillment, and it works tirelessly to bring that about through your assumption. Think about this. Every great inventor, artist, or entrepreneur who achieved remarkable success often said that their ideas and opportunities came to them as if by inspiration. This wasn't coincidence. It was this divine intelligence operating through their assumption. The very intelligence that keeps your heart beating, that maintains the rhythm of your breath, that orchestrates the movement of planets, is the same intelligence that works through your assumption to bring about your success. To cooperate with this divine intelligence, you must develop an unshakable faith in its operation through your assumption. Your only role is to maintain your consciousness of success and let this perfect intelligence handle every detail of its manifestation. Let me share with you the final and perhaps most crucial understanding about your imminent success. Every moment of doubt, every moment of wavering in your assumption is like taking a seed out of the ground to check if it's growing. You must plant your assumption in consciousness and let it grow undisturbed. Many of you keep shifting between states, sometimes feeling successful, sometimes falling back into old patterns of thought. But I tell you this, you must choose your state and stay there. Success isn't a mood that comes, it's a state that you occupy permanently in consciousness. Consider this: when you fill a glass with water, the water takes the shape of the glass without effort or struggle. Your world must take the shape of your assumption with the same natural inevitability, but only if you maintain that assumption consistently. When you truly master this principle, something remarkable happens to your entire being. You stop waiting for success and start expressing it. You stop pursuing success and start radiating it. You stop hoping for success and start knowing it as your natural state. Let me tell you something final and vital about your wild success. It's not just possible, it's inevitable when you maintain your assumption with unwavering faith. The law must operate. It cannot fail any more than gravity can fail to operate. Here's the ultimate truth about your success. It's already complete in the fourth dimension of infinite possibilities. Your assumption isn't creating it. Your assumption is simply drawing it into visible expression in your three-dimensional world. Think about this. You are about to witness the most remarkable transformation of your life. Everything you've experienced up to now has been preparation for this moment. Your past has not determined your future. Your assumption determines it now. The very fact that you're hearing these words tonight is evidence that you're ready for this transformation. You wouldn't be drawn to this understanding if you weren't prepared to express it. Remember this always: success isn't something you achieve. It's something you express from within. It's not a destination you reach. It's a state you occupy in consciousness. Your wild success is already yours, not will be, but is. The only barrier between you and its full expression is your assumption. Go forth now in the absolute conviction that you are about to be wildly successful. Let nothing disturb this assumption. Let no circumstance, no person, no apparent obstacle shake your faith in this law. For the law of assumption never fails. It cannot fail. Your success is as certain as the dawn following the night, as sure as spring following winter. It must come into expression through the power of your sustained assumption. The only variable is time, and even time must bend to your unwavering consciousness of success. Tonight, as you leave this place, know with complete certainty that you are already successful. Live from that conviction, think from it, feel from it, react from it. Let every thought, every word, every action spring from your consciousness of success already achieved. For in truth, I tell you this, you are about to be wildly successful, not because you will make it happen, but because it is already done in consciousness, and what is done in consciousness must manifest in your world. This is the law, and the law never fails. Test it and prove it for yourself, for you will discover, as countless others have discovered before you, that your assumption, sustained with faith, has the power to transform your entire world. Your wild success awaits your assumption of its reality. And that is the end of tonight's lesson.